Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AGC ANZ Open Division. We are coming with you with an amazing match for the fourth round. These two teams, we've seen them tonight. They're playing their best and they're looking monstrous. And it's two undefeated teams for tonight, and that's going to be Crimson Academy taking on Funky Moon.
Yeah, we're continuing this trend. We're getting lucky the last couple of weeks. We're getting these couple of teams that are undefeated and then they're meeting each other in the last. That's what Swiss is designed to do, isn't it? And so it's going to be super exciting. We're going to Volsky Foundry. It's a map that was taken out for a couple of weeks because of a bug or two, but it's back. So it's going to be really interesting to see these teams clash. And, maybe Volsky can typically go very, very long or longer than other maps. So we'll see how it goes.
And in this match, there's also bragging rights to it, as well as if Funky Mood win this game, I believe they secure, or at least definitely secure a second spot. Be close probably by 1 or 2 games ahead of the rest of the curve. But if Crimson win, then they're definitely skyrocketing up to at least compete for that second place. And it's a very, very tight knit. So this match is do or die for both teams, and to see who will get in the top 4 positions coming into the next few weeks that we have. There's only 2 weeks left in Open Division before we hit the Crucible. And these teams need to bring out all their A games starting now. And what better match than 2 undefeated teams tonight on a map that is quite entertaining and annoying at the same time. So it's going to be quite a good one. But when we go into Volskaya, you wish, what do we expect to see on such a glorious map?
I think our current meta probably, it's just, Volsky doesn't really stand out as being any different. Like initially, I think when Volsky first came out, there was like really heavy focus on heroes that can stand on the point. That's still what we get. But with the tanks that we get with Johanna, Muradin, even a Garrosh, tanks that can last a long time on the point before they have to be forced out. It's occasionally we see something like a Hammer, maybe, is a little bit of a different pick that we see on Volsky occasionally. So whether we'll see her or a ban or whether she'll get neglected altogether. Luke on that Chromie, you mentioned we talked about Chromie a couple of games ago. I haven't seen her much. We've seen Luke in the past from Crimson Academy play an incredibly good Chromie. It's something that could be really potent in this map. I'll be excited if he can pull it out.
Exactly, and he's also competing with Electro, who has shown he can play Chromie as well. Both probably going to be more of a ban pick because it will be a priority pick between the two teams. Have players that can play her to quite an astounding performance. Also, I believe and I think Crimson need to respect. It was a Crimson. No, it's I think Funky Moon need to respect the Bot Slick's stitches. We just saw what he could do, and just of a monster he is on that stitches. So probably see a ban for that. They have to respect that pick.
Yeah, most definitely, and it's something like Volsky, and then the pads are a reasonable size, but you kind of know where the enemy is going to be, so it's one of those ones that it's a bit easier maybe to find your picks, find those hooks. It'll be interesting to see, and the possibilities of such targeted bans. Now with we're still getting used to the 3 bans. It's only a few weeks old, really. It kind of sometimes feels like we've had it for a long time, but it's still relatively new, and we can get those picks like that, and. Crimson, that's Crimson on the right-hand side, I believe. Is that correct? So they're banning that Funky Moon's Shogal out. So I think league-wide, they're known for that, and that's nothing that anyone wants to see.
Definitely. Then there's a reason why Cho'Gall is being picked and banned. We mentioned it, I believe it was in week 3, that they were the ones to defeat We Left School for this with a Cho'Gall pick, and it was outstanding to watch. It was quite a match. And it's rightfully so, they deserve it. And if you've got 3 bans, might as well just get it off the board, secure a safe of mind of a drafting phase. And also, likewise, Funky Moon first banning Maev, that's definitely targeted towards Luke. And we saw why. He took it to We Left School for this in the first round, and they were able to get so many players, get so many picks. Jester was just left to smithers. It was shredded. And that's a well-deserved pick. Asmodan as well, that's still something up for contention, worth it. We saw it in the previous game. Did a bit of Campbell's not worth it, but then you got also Jimmy being banned out. That's just another staple as well. Very strong. And Hanzo being picked up by Funky.
Yeah, so seeing that Jimmy, that Asmo ban, I think we've seen a Jimmy ban every game now. So he's just constant. He's just in a spot now really in a really good spot for himself, but competitively, people are just like, yeah, no, we just don't want to deal with it. And as then, you know, maybe people seeing it in scrims, something we haven't seen. The Fish, it wasn't entirely wasn't that he played poorly or anything in the last game, but it wasn't anything to inspire us. But you know, they're obviously these teams are feeling the need to ban. And going into the Alex Raza URL.
Ural is a given, still a consistently strong top laner, and we're seeing Funky Moon. They did this in round 2. They first pick Hanzo, they get themselves an Oriole Vala. They need to ban Stitches. I'm telling you now, if they don't ban the Stitches, if Crimson don't do it, they're going to pick it. That's definitely going to happen. Because that's what happened last time. They've had Hanzo, Oriole, Vala, Stitches, and Leoric, and they're looking to reciprocate it. Instead, they banned the Blaze. Hopefully they pick the Stitches for themselves, because Funky will secure it for themselves.
See, the problem that Crimson Academy have is they've been playing games all night and probably not having the chance to watch anyone else, so they might not know of their Stitches. And yeah, I mean, it was terrifying. They executed it immaculately. So if they're going to, I mean, we can't fault that comp. If they're going to run it again, it obviously worked for them previously. They're going to, try again.
Johanna ban, that's a good ban. And taking away one of the more potent warriors, that still leaves Diablo on the table, still leaves Muradin on the table. I think that's what they're hoping. I think they're hoping for Crimson to pick up the Muradin, and that will keep Stitches alive. What's also interesting to note, Tassada hasn't been banned. He's still up there if they really want to go for the double support, but Chromie and Muradin being picked up by Crimson, and we mentioned that Chromie is a pick for both teams, and it's going to be on Crimson's shoulders, but they're going for Leoric and Stitches. There we go! Reciprocating the team composition from Game 2.
If it works, you might as well use it, and use it until it doesn't work, and they had such success with it in Game 2. Different map, but if you kill people real quick, it doesn't matter what map you're on, you're eventually going to be useful.
And an interesting reply from Crimson, they're pulling out the Thrall. So I guess their idea of if we're gonna get hooked in, we might as well just fight. You got Thrall with the Earthquake, Muradin, just pop Avatar. Ural got Ardent Defender. I think it then comes down to if they pull an Alexstrasza or Chromie, then it's dangerous. And Botslick on that Stitches, he can get the priority hooks. So it works, but then do you see it, you wish? Where do you think the Thrall comes in? Is it something good, or is that just a countermeasure for that Stitches?
It can be a bit of a countermeasure. I mean, he's got, put the Wolves out, or his E, he can get out kind of quickly if they do manage to get him. But, post 10 drops the Earthquake, gets that slow, is a bit safe. It's not really ideal. But like you said, I mean, that's better than pulling the Chromie or pulling the Alexstrasza. So it still provides them with a reasonable front line. It's not a double warrior front line per se, but that melee, it does a reasonable job.
It's going to be quite an interesting thing. Like, will Botslick even land the priority hooks? I don't think they're aware that you got Vala. Also, we saw him going for the Hungering Strike build. Has started with it. Even Hanzo, Electro, going for that Storm Bow, and that is going for that pickup, instant blow up. Now, speaking of good old Funky Moon, they are on the blue side, and playing for Funky Moon tonight, we've got Electro on the Hanzo, Botslick back on the Stitches, Penta with Oreo, Glugs on Leoric, and finally Stump God is playing the Vala with the Hungering Strike build.
And on the red side, we've got Crimson Academy, Morton on the Muradin, Pulse Croxley on the Alexstrasza, Matt on the Thrall, Chromie, Luke on that Chromie again, and Raven on the Ural. So I'm excited to see Luke on this Chromie again. He impressed Winters and myself the first time we saw them, the first week that they played, and I'll be keen to see if he can pull out that performance again.
Got to keep an eye on those stacks as well. He was renowned for building stacks quite quickly, and if anything, he's already getting him right off the bat. Got himself already 3 stacks, and that's just in 20 seconds of the game. So pay attention to that. He can be quite a nuisance, and it'll be quite interesting. But Electro quite low. We'll be able to heal. It's up to Penta how quick he can build up his charge in order to sustain the rest of his teammates. He's not dealing with the Malfurion this time. There's an Alexstrasza, and her sustain is out there. Like, it's quite huge at the moment. She's the best support right now.
Yeah, and seeing a little bit of a slight difference with Volskaya and the Muradin, more on the Muradin going the third win instead of the perfect storm like we quite often see. So just giving him that little bit more healing off of his trait, which gives him that much more sustain, to survive that onslaught maybe initial from coming out of.
And you also got to pay attention to if Morden can position himself now. We're seeing it already. It's happening at the moment. He's reading Botslick's positioning. He's trying to get in the way in case a hook does come out. Morden will be the one to eat it up. So playing kind of that, yeah, come on, you want a hook, buddy? Throw it at me. I got it. I'll take it. Bring it on. And that's what you got to see from the tank. He needs to soak up and avoid someone like Luke or someone like Pulse Croxley getting hooked in. And if they go down hard.
Yeah, most definitely.
Can't also mention and forget that Volskaya map, it's all about the item control too. We've already got the first item, the turrets being secured over towards Funky Moon. Now Crimson pick up theirs. So they're going to be slightly behind in terms of the respawn time between the two camps, but they're both ready, have it ready for the next objective, which is always happening in the middle lane. But now it comes down to, will they fight for that support camp? Because that could be clutching the right hill. No team's in the right position at the moment, so it's too risky right now. But already, you got Crimson Academy developing a very slow EXP lead. And it's helpful because with Chromie, she's always a talented tier advantage over everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're keeping both teams keeping up these rotations. We're getting into the pre-7 fight that's going to be over this first control point. Like you said, both teams have got their turrets. There'll be a little bit more time before the turrets come up again. But choosing to not go for that fight over that support point.
And if anything, they're going to try to at least get positional advantage. Thrall has dealt with the Merc camp that was pushing up in the top lane. So now they've got their own pushing up. They can come in and get a bit of a positional advantage right now. Only 40% behind. It's not too much. But Morden gets knocked back. There's Stitches. He gets stunned. Time stop himself. But Raven jumping in with the backline, forcing Leoric out of position. But the sustain now coming out from Funky Moon is right there. But they have to deal with an Alex Strasser who is Dragon Queen mode. And they decide to concede this. And just giving away for the first stats, letting that Dragon Queen tick over.
Yeah, that was well played. Then that you see that Dragon Queen, no matter whether it's Volskaya or if it's Infernal Shrines, or obviously Alex Strasser. Best thing is to just back up. It's got a couple minute cooldown. Back up. They're going to go soak their 7s. They've got plenty of time at this point. You're only back up to 40% for Crimson Academy on the thing. They can come back and invade, and then they don't have to worry about having to deal with that really big ass dragon.
Exactly, it's still on cooldown. They now come back onto the point, trying to get as much as they can, at least force it back onto themselves. But Raven gets stunned up to the wall. Pulse Croxley gets hooked in, down to half health, so they have to back away. Be careful of that loop. It's still free reigning, and Raven now leading in the charge. But the members of Funky Moon, they're also taking a bit of a beating. Crimson as well. Both members back and forth. It's up to sustained warfare. Raven low, but Morden, he's gonna fall. That's one member down, and Crimson are just gonna concede the point.
That was just a beautiful whip from Pentas, knocking Morton back into that wall so he couldn't dwarf toss out. That was a perfect, able to utilize that and then catch that kill, and that's going to catch him this first big robot that is escaping my memory.
Yeah, well, it's the Protector.
That's the one.
There we go, and it's a Trogolin themselves.
Oh,
that's it. You can't ban Trogol away from them when they're playing on Volskaya, but yeah, they got their Protector. They're going to force at least take the middle wall, but if a smart tactic is push up to top lane and at least secure the top fountain. And the reason being, you want to get that secured, and that is because it opens up the top lane when the next objective spawns there. The enemy team can't tap very easily. They have to back up quite a distance for that life tap. And that's what we're seeing the team of Funky Moon rotate towards. Luke has to be careful, he gets rooted, drops his time stop straight away onto him to survive if anything engage happens. And Funky Moon, they're being smart. Leoric straight away to bottom lane, trying to rotate. Penta has to be careful. But this is just a bit of back and forth and a great defense coming out from Crimson. They're willing this down and keeping the structures alive.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. I was impressed with Funky Moon. You know, with the changes to the experience that we've had the last month, 6 weeks, like they didn't spend any time getting the towers at mid. It's not really going to give them that much of an advantage. But amidst all of this team fight, that turned into a fantastic defense from Crimson.
Exactly. They did not respect Luke with the temporal loop. And I think in a way they found a countermeasure towards why if you're going to hook one of us and blow them up, mate, we're going to blow one of your members up straight away. And a temporal loop on towards a Hanzo, he had no escape. It comes down now to Oreo. Once he gets the Aegis, he will be able to protect the member that gets the temporal loop. There is no cleanse with Oreo, and that's kind of the, I guess, downfall of picking someone that doesn't run the cleanse. But likewise, Alex Strauss, there is no cleanse too. So it really comes down to who can get the right positioning and the right abilities right off the bat.
That's it. And if you have a quick look too, we're talking about Chromie with Luke and his stacks. He's at 43 Sandblast stacks at 7 minutes in. So he's doing a fantastic job. You know, with the Protector, it's maybe a little bit easier because there's a really big target to hit to get those to stack up. They did such a good defense, but he's an absolute killer on this Chromie.
And there we go, we're seeing the Aegis being fucked up, but there's Stump God. He falls down. Matt is quite low. Earthquake, everyone is running around. Hardened Defender pops up. Can Glugs get away? He's so low, but he's able to live with a sliver of health. And that's one member down. In the side of Funky Moon and Crimson Academy, they're taking it to them. They're not falling for the cheap or hook into blow-up tactics. They've got a strategy of their own.
Yeah, that's it. Kill them first before they can kill you. And it's working out really well for them so far.
Exactly. Like, how are you going to kill us when you got no members? Simple strategy. I mean, it's very simple math.
You know what I realised, which I'm really enjoying seeing, is we're getting to see both of the dragons playing together in that we have in Heroes of the Storm. One is significantly larger and more dragon-like than the other one. But it's not something I don't think I've seen that before.
Oh yeah, that's true. Got the Chromie and got Alex Strauss. Well, that's nice. We need a team of dragons. We need another 3 more dragon heroes, 1 to play tank, 1 offlaner, and 1 other damage dealer, and we're good. That's it. Yes, give us Deathwing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do we go 1 from each aspect? So we've got, I don't know, there's 5 aspects, I can't remember. But, you know, yeah, Deathwing definitely probably... would he be our tank or would he be our damage? Probably just damage, because you just wreck everything.
Mate, damage dealer, he needs to nuke everybody. That's the plan. But speaking of nuke, Electro gets rooted, it gets dropped, he's so low, Aegis comes up, but Raven is gonna fall, no! Finder comes back with a pulse proxy, clutch healing, the new ancestral buddy, step back, and that's gonna force Crimson now to take the charge. They will be able to take dominance and area positioning as well as advantage up towards the top area.
Yeah, that was really well played by Alex Strauss. You know, the Ardent Defender still had a 30-second cooldown. But that life binder, that was maximum value out of that. That was, she was almost dead. And that was perfect timing by Postrox. They did an incredible job.
And now they've got to deal with an Earthquake, an Ardent Defender up. A good old Urel building the Goomba style build. I love that build. It's just so fun. Just jump, squashing every member in your path. And they're going to be careful because Chromie, Luke, he's going to sell 53 stacks early on into the game, and they have to be very wary. And guess what? Electro gets zoned out. He gets popped. That's 1 member down. It's damage is down. Stump God is near half health. But Luke gets hooked in. They're forcing in forces of stasis, so he's going to be able to live as the rest of the cavalry are on him. That's positive. He's slow Clugs. He's going to also Wraith walk away to safety. But damn, do they have countermeasures for that hook blow-up strategy?
Yeah, that was incredibly done before. Luke had already managed to dodge a full-length hook before when he was on the pad doing a fantastic job. And even though getting that, that was incredibly well done. You know, Pulse Croxley popping the Dragon Screen as well at the same time just to provide that extra support. And, you know, they survived, managed to get the kill on the Stitches, and now they've got the Protect.
Exactly. The timeout was very clutch talent pick for Luke, and it's going to be happening. Now you force, what do you have? You got Alex Strauss as a hook potential. what's Thrall do? Thrall just dropped Earthquake. And now Funky Moon are trying their best to defend a fall, but against the Protector, no less. That's going to be so dangerous. Bosley just gets blown up. The rest of them have to back away. And that's a matchup that's not really favorable. It's picking on a Protector.
No, it's quite good at dealing a fair chunk of damage, and that's exactly what they're doing. You know, they're eking out to almost a 2-level lead, Crimson Academy now, and they're playing really, really well into this comp that we saw Funky Moon execute so well previously, and they're able to just shut it, not necessarily shut it down, but just reply with their own and much stronger, response.
And now we've got Crimson Academy rotating towards the bottom lane. Again, it's the same strategy. If you take the top Protector, try to push it and get the bottom fountain, it at least opens up the map, and that's another strategy that works. It's about rotating, getting the fountains, getting some structured damage, just to help come next objective. Here comes a Dragon Arrow, and now the rest of the team are going in. Tomb pulls up Earthquake. Matt gets hooked in. There's a Stomp Guard, but he's going to be forced into an Aegis, so he lives. And Morton is body blocking, but Stomp Guard is going to drop so low. Raven gets a secure kill for himself there. And now the fight is turning in the favor of Crimson Academy. Bosley needs to back away, gets blown up by Luke. And it's going to be 2 members down in the favor for Crimson Academy, and they're looking strong.
Yeah, looking very strong. That Dragon's Arrow was perfectly timed. As you know, with the Chromie and the Urel in that Protector, they timed it perfectly. They got the 3 or 4, might have even got 4 of them. But then they just weren't able to turn around. You know, they needed to win that fight. There was 13 to 15, still on the same talent level. It's a fight they needed to win. But Crimson Academy, they just really turned it around, slowed down with that Thrall, that Earthquake, and then they just came in and decimated.
Despite respecting Luke's Chromie, he's on 58 stacks. You got like the Gloom talent being picked up by Vala, understanding that if he's not careful and if he's out of position, he can get blown up. But Aegis is difficult talent to work. It's not like an invulnerable from Uther. It puts a big target down, saying, okay, just time it, attack this spot. And it's going to be quite dangerous because you've got Luke who can just drop the dragon, but then they're baiting it out. Pulse Croxley gets hooked, gets stunned to a wall. There's an Entomb to just force the displacement as well. That's going to be support down. If they need to do something, they got to do it now. There's 3 to 4 5 equal matchup. Raven trying to back away. Can he survive? Morden is down to below half out, but he's able to pop his good old talent of Stoneform and just heal up easily. But Thrall, Matt gets hooked. Earthquake comes down. He gets stunned. He gets dropped. And that's going to be 1 member down, 2 for the favor of Funky Moon. But they need to push an advantage here, you wish. They need to do something with this advantage.
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, that's what they're doing. They're getting that healing camp. They're right next to it. Now, right next to that support camp. It's the best thing to do when you get that advantage is to take what's closest to you, and that's what they're doing. So they can do that, you know, turn that into a structure or 2. They're going to get sort of 16, which is really good, what you're going to want coming into that point down at the bottom, which will be spawning right now in the next minute or so. So, you know, that's what they did. They turned around, they got those couple of kills. Now they've caught back up on that talent level. And, you know, we've got a game on our hands. It's certainly not over.
Absolutely. It's still an even matchup despite Luke, who's got 72 stack 14 minutes in. He's a monster, but they have some ways of at least surviving it. The Gloom, it comes in. It provides good spell armor. We'll be able to take at least 20% of that damage away and survive any burst that comes out from Luke when he pops a temporal loop. You've got the Aegis, we've mentioned that before, as well as you've got you got the Dragon's Arrow to deny any follow-up engage. Would have been great to see a Zeratul, but I don't think they expected that. But Stump God needs to be careful. There's a Stormwall. It misses Raven, forcing it into him. Boxley is now going to walk in, face burst into one of the hard defender pods. All the ultimates are going up in this fight. Blood's down below. Stump God, he's got range of vengeance ready, but he gets stunned. Temporal Loop comes up. Does he have Bloom? No, the Aegis is still alive, keeps him alive. Now Raven's quite low, but Glugs is down. Bosley, he needs to back away. He's falling ever so slowly, and he goes down. That is 2 for nothing. Electro, Stump, Penta, they can't defend this. They're going to probably concede this. They're going to concede it. That's it. That was a well-fought battle, and Crimson just picking off the right targets, getting damage out in the right areas.
Yeah, you know, they did really well. It was still an incredible defense from Funky Moon. Penta pulled off that Aegis onto Stump God, and you know, Stump God managed to survive, but they were still able to take out that front line, that incredible front line that is Snitches in the Auric. and they just not budged. They just held their ground. Crimson Academy came out, that 2-0 trade.
And now they're just setting up. Electro gets stunned up, backs away. Kind of an interesting thing trying to secure a turret when you have most of your teammates down. But that's going to be 2 items in the favor of Crimson. They hit level 19. They're getting up to that level 20. And once they get the Storm talents, they're not going to let go. They're going to be relentless in pushing in, especially once they secure that protector for themselves, in which they do. It's up to a defensive mechanic from Funky Moon. What do they need to use damage? You got the slam build. You got the hungering strike somewhat. You got storm bow. You got to clear the minions, at least survive and use your range. But now they got to defend to keep and they're almost level 20 Crimson Academy.
Yeah, they're hungry for that now. Once they get these towers down, they're probably going to hit that 20. They really want to be careful. If they give up 1 or 2 picks, then Crimson Academy is going to be looking at just finishing this game.
The Protector down to 50%. The Temporal Loop comes as members stun, and he just comes out to just keep Stumpguard from dying from his inevitable death. And that's also going to be Aurea falling. Next is going to be Glugs, Butslick, and Electro. They're still alive. What can they do for defense? That keep is dropping. He's down below half out. Electro is the next target. The likes of Morden gets a stun down. And they need to back up Conceited Electro. Morden does not care. He wants that blood. He wants death.
Yeah, that's it. And we're at 17 minutes into the game. These timers are long enough. We're still looking at 25 seconds, 20 seconds before Valor comes up. If they can't finish this game, they're gonna put a whole heap of damage on it, and I said they're probably gonna finish this game.
A great performance from Crimson. They 2 weeks started late. That doesn't care. They've been performing and consistently playing 3 wins week in, week out, just dropping 1 game, maybe from some silly mistakes. But tonight we see a team bent on claiming the top 2 spot. They want to get into the Crucible. They want to get into the Premier League, and Crimson just look monstrous, and they decimated anyone that comes in their way.
Yeah, that's a really strong showing we've seen from Crimson tonight. Not dropping any of their games now, but beating Funky Moon, and quite well too. They didn't give up much. They really put in their stake in the ground, and they've beat Funky Moon. They beat We Left School for this from the get-go. So they've really said, look, we're here now. That I can't off the top of my head figure out what the points are going to be now that they've gone undefeated, but they're going to really position them into those that 4 that are fighting for that second spot. They're definitely there. They're definitely in contention. We've got 2 weeks to go before we decide who goes to the Crucible, and at this point, it could be anyone.
Absolutely. It's a very tight-knit game, very close, and we just saw tonight those teams fighting for second place. They want to be there. They deserve to be there. We left school for this, a team that were gods. They were titans. They just were unstoppable, and we just saw that they have a weakness. So if it's a Cho'Gall, maybe it's just those heroes. But even then, it's a lot closer than what we anticipated a few weeks back, and it's just getting a lot more tighter. Anyway, I really enjoyed casting with tonight. We had some great games to play. Hopefully everybody else enjoyed them just as much as we did. It's a great one, and we'll see you next week on Wednesday for another Week 7. Just 2 weeks to go in the ANZ Open Division. And also, tune in tomorrow night for the Premier Division. It's going to be a quite close one. A lot of teams vying for it. Got the Gods of Mind Freak just decimating, but there are still ways. If we see upsets tonight, it could be upsets tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow.